and her friend was there, and I was like, oh, is your friend, like, is she okay? Like, I didn't mean to offend her, blah, blah, blah. Like, I just was in the middle of a conversation, and her friend, like, was like, oh, no, she's not mad. She's just, like, a little antisocial. And I was like, oh, okay. And then she came back, and she's like, ha, Josh Lawyer. And I was like, what's up? Did I offend you? Like, I didn't mean to be like, and she was like, oh, very cute with your cute oil paintings. All right. Well, this is Waiting to Dry.
All right.
I'm Josh Lawyer.
I'm Sergio Lopez.
And today's guest is Lagunitas.
Yeah. Sponsored by.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't been in a room with a mic together in, 4 weeks now?
Is it 4 weeks already? Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was before I went to Atlanta, and then I left 2 days before you recorded the Steve Kim episode.
Yeah.
And then Felicia, and then Carol, and then, wow, yeah, it hasn't been that long.
It's kind of weird, like, listening to your podcast without you in it.
Yeah.
I had this weird thing where when I listened to you and Judson and, sorry, what's your friend's name?
Carol.
There was like moments where I was like, I want to like say something.
Right, I know. I felt the same way listening to Steve Kim and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of weird. Or like, ooh, I would have said a good joke there, or,
right,
or a good joke to me there. Probably wouldn't be that great.
We let the listeners decide. But yeah, it was interesting because we've hung out since I've gone back, and we talked a little bit about each other's episodes, giving each other feedback about them.
If you guys are wondering, when me and Sergio saw each other again after so long, our lips touched, and we held each other for a very long time. So
it wasn't even like a romantic or sexual thing. We just got like smushed together in a really tight elevator.
Yeah, that's why it happened. Wink,
exactly.
wink.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so we haven't really done this for a while, so and a lot has changed in my life since then. Like I wear shorts now because the weather's hot.
Yeah.
And big things. So I mean, how have things been with you? How different are you?
How different? Well, I have a different car now. That's the main big thing.
Oh, nice.
But
you got some rims on that car?
Well, they're not hubcaps, so I guess they're rims.
Damn.
But
I mean, what the podcast life does for you.
Imagine when we start a Patreon, how much money we'll have.
Yeah. Probably billions, if not trillions.
Be making that.
Or maybe even millions.
Making that Rogan money.
But yeah, so how was Atlanta?
Atlanta was cool.
How much lobster did you eat?
Lobster? Is Atlanta a lobster Atlanta thing?
Well, we told people to buy tickets because you'd have endless amount of lobster to eat.
Oh, okay. So I didn't even... This is how rusty we are together. I don't even catch the callbacks. But let's see. What did we have?
Lobster.
I had some barbecue.
Oh.
Some Atlanta barbecue.
Nice. Did you pay a good amount there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did. I started out a little slow because it was actually rainy most of the time I was there. The first couple of days I got there, well, I was like behind in sleep and everything. I never sleep well on airplanes.
Right.
So, and I had a red-eye flight out there. My flight to Atlanta, or it first went from Oakland to New York and then to Atlanta. And so I left here at 10, or my flight was at 10 p.m. I didn't arrive to Atlanta until 10 a.m.
Damn.
So, and then in that time I got like 2 hours worth of sleep. So, when I got there, I went straight from the airport to where we like check in for orientation and all that for the event. And by that time it was probably like 1 or probably 1 o'clock. And then going in to check with everybody there, saw people I knew who were also doing the event. And from there, I went to check in with my host's house because events like these, most of the time they'll host you, especially when it's like a national event where people are a lot of people are traveling to get there. So they hook you up with a family that is willing to put you up for the time you're there.
Nice.
So
how was the family?
They were cool.
Shout out to family.
Yeah. Shout out to the Pearlies. They were nice. Yeah.
Nice.
Almost every time they're pretty nice people. I've heard of stories of people that have that's not worked out well. Like the people are like kind of crazy or
nice.
they have like ridiculous demands on people, or like you're sharing a house with somebody, so some people are just going to have rules, but sometimes it's just not conducive to plein air painters. Because
it'd be funny if a hoarder volunteered to let someone stay.
Yeah, exactly. You could sleep on a stack of newspapers.
Yeah.
Put a blanket, it'll be comfy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You like walk through this hallway made of newspapers and boxes.
Yeah. And old toilet paper. But
nice.
Yeah,
so,
I didn't have any problems with them, and nice. I hope they didn't have any problems with me.
So you were slow because you were sleep deprived.
Yeah. And so, the first day I just, when I met them and got to the house and bring all my stuff in and all my supplies and everything, got that all together. Then I just like took a nap for the rest of the day. And then after that, I thought maybe I'd be up for painting, but it was pretty much time for dinner at that point. So went and had some barbecue.
But no lobster.
No lobster. No lobster this time.
Was there any? Oh, none. I was just about to ask how much lobster was there, but
no, not even crab.
But the barbecue was good.
It was actually the first place I went to. Not even that great. No, we went to a place that was on somebody's recommendation. One of my good friends lives out there, and her mom is staying with her right now too. And we become friends too. And so I hit her up, and we went to a barbecue place together. And
the mom?
Oh,
you saucy dog! You. Sergio. She is a married woman.
Yeah, I was about to say Josh is talking about those plein air orgies.
I know.
Extracurricular activities.
That was one of the follow-up questions.
Yeah.
Like everyone wants to know.
Yeah. But no, we had a orgy of ribs and shrimp and grits. That's about it. But no, the place we went to was like I guess Atlanta, there's certain areas that are really coming up, and it's got, the hipster sort of areas, or, where you go where, like, the wait for a restaurant is longer than it should be.
Right.
And so that was the case with this place.
Pretty expensive.
Yeah, although it wasn't, like, super expensive, but we waited for an hour for our food.
And did they give you, like a single rib with, like, drizzled barbecue sauce and, like, a little slight piece of parsley just like set on top?
I mean, they might as well have. The portions of it were like, average, but no, the food was okay, but it wasn't like wait an hour for it. Okay. It was just one of those places where like, oh, this was a recommendation. You expect it to be better. And then,
well, a shitload of people don't know shit about food.
I guess so.
People.
But Atlanta is supposed to be a pretty good food town, though.
Except for our listeners, they're all like super foodies, so no diss to you guys, obviously. But everyone else out there,
we can brag about having the best taste, the best podcast fans with taste.
Yeah,
because they're listening to the show.
Sorry, burp.
But Yeah, so the first day that we were officially able to paint for the show, because you have to like check in and have your canvases stamped, or else like I guess there's people who could possibly cheat and bring in paintings that they've already done beforehand.
Wait, so why would someone cheat? Do you guys get like prizes or something?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There's actually cash prizes at the end and stuff like that. So yeah, that the first day was like the nicest day that I was there. Actually, well, other than probably the day
Wait,
the
so
first 2 days
you
I
guys
left.
get a stamp on the back of your canvas to make sure you're not cheating.
Yeah. So
And then this stamp is like on like a painter, let's say like an artist wouldn't be able to like sneak in a painting, fake the stamp on the back, but would
you would have to know in advance what the stamp was going to look like.
couldn't you just sneak in like a painting and then get a blank canvas stamped and then just look at that stamp and go like, well, I'll just pull out my good one now and paint. And
What,
then,
like put the finished painting, like take the canvas and paste it to the top of the or the front of it?
No, just paint the stamp on the back. Like you have, there's two,
Oh.
there's a rolled canvas, right? And in this, or how about this? You have a painting underneath a blank canvas,
Yeah.
and then
Like as a sticker or something?
yeah.
I guess you could do it that way. I mean,
I
you'd have
guess-
to paint
I
like the
guess you-
flattest painting ever.
I guess you are going to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Am I right, Sergio? We're trying to make money here. You got a car with rims that you need to pay for,
Right.
or is it paid, or do you do payments?
No, it's paid.
Oh, never mind. Okay, real podcast, man. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Never mind. I take that back. Did you buy? The person you bought that car from, by the way? Did you buy it from someone you know?
It was the son of.
Wait. I just wanted to ask one. I just want to know yes or no.
Oh, yes.
Was that person hippie-ish?
I don't know actually. I've never met them.
Because I
Why?
when I was grabbing some of the equipment from the car, I was like, ooh, smells like someone's. What's that oil like hippies use?
Oh, patchouli.
I was like, kind of smells like someone that likes patchouli oil in here.
Oh, maybe.
And I was like, I wonder who Sergio bought this from.
Well, they were probably trying to mask the dog hair smell in there.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I don't know. I think I would take dog smell over white guy dreadlock smell.
Yeah, probably. But you have a dog, so you're used to it.
Yeah, that's true. I've got the smelliest kind of dog.
Yeah. Smelliest, drooliest, eye boogeriest dog.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Sorry. That was just a random side note. So, Atlanta. Oh, so you guys compete. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Did you win?
I won a prize,
Hell
but
yeah. How much do I get?
like from the prize money,
Yeah.
you get 100% of my prize money, which was 0. Yeah. It wasn't, yeah, I got like
Okay.
a recognition prize, quote unquote.
Oh,
So
you better recognize.
if you want part of my ribbon, I could give you that.
I'll take it.
Yeah, all right.
How big is the ribbon and how much do I get?
You can have the whole thing, far as I care. But no, it's actually, even though it wasn't like a cash prize, it was neat to get it because the judge who gave me the prize was actually a painter who I actually really like his paintings. So it was actually really cool that way.
But it was a judge that. Okay, I wasn't.
Yeah,
sure.
the way they did it there for this particular event was they had 3 different judges, and one of them was a painter, one of them was a museum director, and the third one was like I think the head of a art like organization in New York, like a pretty big one. It's called Salmagundi Club. It's been around for a long time.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I think I've heard of it before. Is that the one in that park that's all fancy? It's like, isn't there like a?
In the park?
Yeah, there's
In
like
Central Park?
There's like a park that's like exclusive for people like they can't like go in there unless you have like a membership, and there's like an art club in that park.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know enough about that club.
I might be dead wrong. But there's because after I learned about that, then they talked about it on that show Broad City.
Oh, really?
There's like a moment where like there's like something happened where they're like next to that like park, or I don't know exactly what the fuck it is, but it's like very like hoity-toity, rich folky kind of thing, and it's
really?
It's like very exclusive, and not talking shit about the
Is it kind of like the Bohemian Club sort of thing?
I think so. And
because that one's pretty hoity-toity from my understand. They won't let you in the building of the Bohemian Club without like you have to be like dressed with a jacket and shit like that.
And like have a monocle.
Yeah, exactly.
And
top hat.
Yeah. But yeah. So okay, so those 3 people were judging. And the artist judge is the one that.
Yeah, they gave me the award.
That's that you better recognize.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
So yeah, that was cool.
If you're gonna get any kind of notoriety from the 3, it's probably.
I'd rather have been him. Yeah.
Yeah. on a business standpoint, you probably would want one of the other guys.
Yeah, exactly. Not getting a museum show from the artist. Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. From the artist it probably actually means more on like a technical point, but but yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I just Debbie down that whole conversation.
No, I was pretty Debbie down for a little while there actually, because at the end of the week, so like most of the time that I was painting there, it was pretty if it wasn't raining, it was at least overcast and gray day. And so by the end of it, we're like, we did what we could with the lighting situation there, but it's tough to do a plein air event when it's raining half the time.
Right.
And so by the end of it, we have our show there.
You should just buy those like sunglasses, but they're yellow toned.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Just buy those and just wear them on gray days.
Those Bono sunglasses.
Yeah.
The show happened on Saturday evening, and so that's when they do the awards, and you get to see everybody's paintings that they put up for the competition and everything. And so they had the judges give out the awards, and you're always hoping that you get an award, but you never know.
Right.
It's just up to the taste of the 3 people who are doing it. And
right.
So if you don't get an award, you're hoping for some sales. So there were a lot of people there that there were a lot of people that did do well, like they got awards and sales. But a lot of people that either got an award of recognition and no sales, which I was in that camp. And there were a lot of people that didn't get any recognition or sales.
Wow.
So that always sucks, especially if you're flying in from out of town.
For sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a lot of money to put up for just like speculation.
Should we close that door?
It's up to you. Should it? Yeah.
Probably. You might need to edit this part out. We are closing a door we left wide open for some dumbass reason.
Well, tell a killer joke and I won't cut it out.
Why'd the chicken cross that? I'm just kidding. I got nothing. Yeah, so you were in the group of the best recognized, but no sales.
Right. Yeah. And so there were a few more things that were going on before, like because Saturday was the main like reception where they had like the sales,
right?
Or where all the collectors, the hardcore collectors come in.
Hardcore, like in what way?
Oh, like the people who are like the benefactors of the show, like they're the.
Okay, I thought you meant like
the main sponsors.
Like they were like, because like the orgies you guys have. I thought I thought you meant like they were like the hardcore collectors, like.
Like hardcore into hardcore sex, yeah.
Yeah.
They came in with leather and bondage gear and everything.
Yeah, they're like, oh, there goes those collectors that are crazy.
Yeah. So Sunday morning they do like a quick paint event where everybody comes to the park where the main sort of or part of the main show on Sunday is at the park where they have it was broken up. This is not how they do it typically in a lot of different places, but they broke it up where it's sort of like a meet the artist and watch them do demos and stuff during Sunday, and they had like a little part where they have other paintings from the show that weren't like necessarily for the competition, but you could still paint them and try and sell them.
Right.
And so they had that part of it in the park. And so there was a quick paint where you have 2 hours to do a painting, and that gets judged and a possible prize as well. And so most people I know struck out on that one too.
Nice.
So by that point, by the end of that point of the event, which was like halfway through Sunday, I sold one small painting for like $300. And so, yeah, I was ready to just be like super bummed out the entire flight home. But in the last hour of the whole thing, the lady whose house I painted for the painting that I got the award for, well, first I was doing a demo, like a head painting demo of one of my friends, and during that time, after that, she came up to me and asked me about like, why'd you, like, I'm just curious, like, why'd you pick this house to paint and everything? And I just told her why. And it's like she had this really cool like maple tree in front of it that I ended up spending like 3 days painting this piece from life. So spent a good amount of time on it. And so I just told her a little bit about why I picked it, which is like it's close to my host house, so I didn't have to travel too far to get there. And but no, mostly that tree was awesome. It had all these really neat colors in the leaves and stuff. But so she's like, "Oh yeah, thanks for telling me. Bye." And so she just like walked away. And so my friend was like, like, it's cool that she liked the painting, but like, shouldn't she like try and buy it or something?
Did you know she owned the house? At
that point, because she's like, "Oh yeah, somebody told me that you painted my house," and I was just like curious, like why. And so, so I was ready to go back and start like loading my stuff back into the car I rented to be out there. And so I go there and I find out that like she actually bought the painting, and it sold for a pretty decent amount. It sold for $2,400.
Nice.
So I make 60% of that. So it's like barely enough for me to cover my trip out there and everything. So
hell yeah.
But other than like without that, yeah, exactly. That's what that's like the best you could hope for. Dirty secret of plein air events. If you break even, you're doing well.
Fuck yeah. Well, that's cool, I guess. I mean, it's a free vacation-ish. I don't know. Those like work. Yeah,
in a way. Yeah, a lot of the reasons, like these days, how I'm with plein air events, it's like if it's a place I actually want to paint, and I'm happy to have the pieces that I'm most likely going to come home with, then it's probably worth doing.
How are the hors d'oeuvres at the event?
Actually, really good. I heard a funny story about this one guy who did the event a few years ago. So so they part of the platter they had was like a bunch of bacon, and it was really good actually.
Okay.
But so a few years ago they were like do you know Scott? And I'm like, I actually know him. I hope he doesn't mind me saying his name. He's like, do you know Scott Pryor? And I'm like, yeah, I've never met him, but yeah, I know him. He's like, well, yeah, a few years ago, like he ate like all the bacon here. he ate like 100 pieces or something. I'm like, holy shit. And so I went on Facebook and made a comment to Scott. I was like, yeah, I heard your bacon consumption here a few years ago was the stuff of legends. And he's like, yeah, I got there late and there was nothing left except for the bacon. So I'm like, what else am I going to eat? He apparently he took some with him too.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like artists aren't like that shy at consuming free food. It's like
Not at all.
it's all about saving money. So it's like, oh, food? Oh,
Yeah.
yep, I'm eating that.
Yeah, we ate a little bit of everything there.
Nice. Nice. And how were the orgies?
The orgies, I get a 7.5.
There's a funny story about a couple of years back. This guy Scott, he was a part of the orgies, but then they ran out of lube, and he ate all the bacon.
I thought you were gonna say they used bacon grease instead.
That's disgusting. Yeah.
So yeah, that was Atlanta for the most part. I mean, a lot of the reason I went out there was to actually see one of my best friends who lives out there. And problem is though, she was out of town for most of that time.
Good move.
Yeah.
I love to go visit my friends when they're not there.
Yeah, exactly. But it was cool. I saw a lot of people that I knew from other plein air events. A lot of people from Portland that I know up there. Like, Scott Gelatley from Gambling. Mm-hmm. He was there.
Nice.
So
that's cool.
Yeah, he's cool. And I did take my extra podcast gear.
Yeah.
I got from.
Can't wait to hear the podcast you did.
Exactly. Yeah. Which was what I was going to get at. Like, it's impossible to try and get people together in an event like that to actually sit down for any amount of time.
Yeah.
Everybody's just off doing their own thing. Just got to kind of try and schedule it beforehand or something. But other than that, it's like trying to do it spontaneously. Right. You either just have to like secretly start recording everybody.
Huh. You could have done that. Real journalism.
Right, exactly.
But I guess not. And while you were doing that, we were hard at work making podcasts.
Podcasts that were actually recorded.
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah. But it was fun to be out there to hear, like, because I heard the Steve Kim episode while I was out there.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And I was like, it's like you were saying before, there's times where you have something that you definitely wanted to interject in,
right.
but you can't.
Yeah, go ahead and say it now.
Well,
just say, Steve, what do you think about?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I actually talked to him on Instagram afterwards. We were direct messaging a little bit, and
slid into those,
slid into the DMs, and we actually met through. Virtually met through conceptart.org, which is one of the things that I talked about in the first episode as one of the forums that I got like the whole main loop thing from and all that.
Right.
And
I remember that story really well.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You should. But yeah, he was like this guy who was painting stuff that was totally not anything to do with concept art, but I thought, like, man, who is this guy? Because at that time he was like one of my favorite artists, especially on.
But things have changed. How dare you?
You grow as an artist and your tastes sort of evolve. But but no, it's like really cool. But I remember there was this one thing that he wrote that always stuck with me. I made a thread on there once about this painter that I really liked at the time. Named it was like a painter from like the 19th century named Peter Monstead, and he paints like these really sort of super highly realistic paintings of like idyllic countryside and forests and stuff like that.
Okay.
And the thread, I said something in the thread like man, I wish I could paint like this someday or something like that. And I remember him writing something like, don't worry, once you're able to, you won't ever want to. And it was like, at the time I was like, man, what a dick. Why did you say something like that?
That's a great response.
I know. But yeah, nowadays I laugh at it, but at the time I was like, shit on my artist I look up to. But yeah, it was just like, that was the thing that I probably would have brought up with him, see if he remembered at all. Probably not.
Probably not.
But
Steve Kim commented on that person's. I lost part.
Well, he commented on the thread that I made.
I see. Oh, I see.
But I took it like he's like kind of shitting on my taste as an artist,
dissing your heroes.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about it now?
He's kind of right.
Yeah.
I don't know if he like meant it to be right at the time, but it's like, yeah, no, I don't really want to paint that way anymore at all. But yeah, and then what's the other thing? Oh, I found it hilarious that he has this phobia of car batteries now.
Oh, I know.
I just thought it'd be funny for him because he's like into horror movies too. That he could make a remake of that Stephen King movie Maximum Overdrive.
That'd be hilarious.
Except just with car batteries.
Or just Attack of the Killer Batteries.
Yeah, exactly.
Like those like really bad like I don't know, late 80s or 90s horror films where they would just like have like they would just pick something and make it evil, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
They've got like sharp teeth and
yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Or like every single bug, like after arachnophobia, then it's like, I don't know, killer crickets. I don't know what the fuck. Whatever would show up on Sci-Fi Channel nowadays.
Yeah, it's horror films are like a weird genre where they just like try to appeal to like the easiest like.
Right.
I'm surprised I'm sure someone's done something about heights. Yeah, or like.
Oh.
It would be cool if someone could do like a solid horror film about something that's like about heights or like talking in front of crowds.
Oh yeah, that's funny. Yeah,
like an actual fear.
Right. What have they done ones about like claustrophobia? It feels like they probably do
horrific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
me and my brothers when we were young, we were all a bunch of wild fucking boys, and my sister. It was 5 boys and my sister, and we were always just breaking shit and doing stupid things. And we had this fold-out couch in our living room.
Yeah.
Yeah, it like folds out to a bed.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had this idea of like, hey, let's all take turns laying in the bed and then folding it and pushing it into the couch.
Right, yeah.
You ever do that?
No, I didn't do it. I was too scared to want to do something like that. It looks like it'd be painful too.
It is like the most extreme version of claustrophobia. Like each one of us would just freak the fuck out in the bed.
Were you guys screaming?
Yeah, but it's a muffled sound.
Yeah.
So
when you're under cushions.
Yeah, and then we would put the couch cushions back on and sit on the couch while they were freaking out. And each of us would do it, and we'd all like come out of the couch like, no, do that again. It's your turn. It's your turn, Josh.
When were you like, no, I don't want to do that.
And we all did it. Yeah, we all were dumb.
Were you guys hesitant afterwards? Or like before doing it, or were you like hesitant to do it, or were you like, let's see if he's just being a pussy?
It's almost like you didn't understand it until you did it.
Okay.
It was like once you did it, you were like, why did we do that?
Because it's like being buried alive or something.
Yeah, pretty much. It's brutal because you can't move your arms or your legs. You're just like stuck there, and you're just screaming. It's kind of freaking me out just thinking about it. I should probably stop talking about that. But it was brutal. I don't know. Oh yeah, claustrophobia, horror film.
But I was gonna say, speaking of horror films, have you watched A Quiet Place yet?
No, we're supposed to watch it today. Actually.
Oh, are you?
Yeah,
that's
I
cool.
want to. Have you?
No, I haven't seen it yet. Part of me doesn't want to go to the theater to see it because I don't want to get like the luck of the draw where some like obnoxious assholes in there
don't go down there.
Yeah,
oh motherfucker,
because the whole idea is that you're supposed to be silent in the theater while you watch that movie too.
Right.
Like everybody's kind of on the edge of their seat, so somebody could easily ruin that.
Well, I always like going to a movie kind of after like the big hype because usually it's way more dead in there, and it seems like the people that are willing to wait are usually like the most like they also were thinking the same thing, so they respect the movie the most.
No, that's probably the best day to do it then. Like today.
Yeah, that or like a weekday, like mid-afternoon kind of shit.
Right, yeah.
Like when there's literally just no one's in movie theaters at that time. And you just get maybe like one other group of people. But yeah.
But no, it's supposed to be good. I'm sure everybody's listening to this already saw it too.
Yeah, no spoiler alerts from here. So.
Yeah, well, I can't spoil anything I haven't seen.
I know. I've been trying my hardest to not hear anything about it. I have a feeling there's some like twist or something.
Right, yeah.
I'm just like, I don't want to know anything.
Exactly, yeah. Like a M. Night Shyamalan movie, you don't want to know what the twist is going in.
Yeah, I'm a huge John Krasinski fan. Like,
are you?
Like, I'm a huge the show The Office.
Oh yeah.
Like me and MJ were like, that's like, we have that we watch like an episode of The Office every day, pretty much, or one or two.
Yeah.
I mean, we take breaks from it, but for the most part, we've lived together for 3 years. We've probably a third of the year we've watched at least one episode of The Office.
Damn.
That's like our repeat show.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we're addicted to it. So, so yeah. You know I'm a fan because I know his name is John Krasinski.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know me and names. They just don't.
Do you know all the cast members by their names? By their real names?
I know Jenna Fisher and then obviously Steve Carell.
Uh-huh.
And then I know that Phyllis in the show's actual name is Phyllis. Oscar's name is actual Oscar. Oh, wait.
Really?
Is Oscar's name Oscar? Kevin's name is Kevin. I don't know if Stanley's name. Like a lot of them have like, and then I know the guy that plays Creed. I don't know if his name is Creed, but on the show it's Creed Braden, but I don't think that's his name. But he was part of a band in the '60s. I was like legit ass band.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember the band's name, but I know like 2 of their songs. They're like classic oldies kind of music.
Oh wow,
like,
okay.
Like Woodstock era, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty deep into The Office if you know the the music history of one of the side characters.
Yeah, yeah, I'm obsessed with that show. That's my so yeah, I'm excited to see because he directed the show and he's starring in, so that seems to be like a format a lot of people are doing nowadays. You know, like the show Girls had that same setup,
right?
And then that Atlanta ATL show.
Oh yeah,
which is like amazing.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, it's so good. He wrote.
What channel is that on?
I have no idea. Maybe FX.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It was done by Donald Glover,
right?
And it's so creative and like weird and some like he has like an episode that's just like so weird and so cool that you're like, fuck, he just like, because it's just a story about like a rapper and his cousin, which is Donald Glover, is trying to manage him.
Okay.
And his cousin's kind of like had like the one hit, you know, and so he potentially can become a successful rapper, but it hasn't necessarily happened yet. And Donald Glover's trying to sneak into the management position.
Oh, okay.
And that's kind of like the dynamic of the show. While crazy other shit happens, but there's like this, like he has this comedy background, so it's like serious for most of it, but he has like this subtle way of just putting in like little bits of comedy here and there. And then there's one episode where it's just like, it's more like a comedy with serious, it's like a, you know, more comedy than drama. And then,
right.
So I don't know. It was when I watched it, I was really fucking impressed. And then, but yeah. And
did you ever watch Community?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see a lot of Community. I mean, but the episode I did, I like. But he's always seemed like more of like a straight character on there to me. As far as, maybe I just didn't watch enough of the episodes. Yeah, I never found him like that funny on the show. So.
You probably him and Abed. They're like the 2 like goofiest characters on the show.
Oh really? Oh
yeah.
Maybe I just watched the wrong episodes.
You should watch them crumping.
Okay.
It's hilarious. Like, because Donald Glover, obviously the black character, he's trying to like show him how to crump, but he doesn't know how. So it's just like the most ridiculous thing. Yeah, that show's cool. It was very inconsistent, I think, is the problem with that show, because it was a lot of like, you know, the guy Dan Hartman who like wrote it. It just seems like there was like a lot of like drama with him and
because it was a network show, right? And he was fighting with them constantly.
Yeah. And so they fired him and hired him and all this stuff. So
didn't it end up on Yahoo or something for a while?
Yeah, I even watched it then. And yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just.
But Atlanta, you like more?
Well, Atlanta's one season in, so I never like. I mean, the fact that they did that community show for so many seasons, it's like I always like respect that. I mean, it must be super hard to be a consistent TV show and be good.
Oh yeah.
Like just consistently.
I'm amazed at shows that can do that.
Yeah. And it's very rare when it actually is like holds up and that kind of stuff. Atlanta has had one season, and I hope it like continues to be good, but it's just hard to keep shit consistent. Like it really is, especially like as us as artists, we have a painting and then we get to like start over something new. Like
right.
like it's kind of like comparing a multiple seasons to like a full art show, like
right.
a solo show. Like you would have to like have a cohesiveness and make it really good, where most of the time artists are doing group shows. So you have like one painting and then on to the next thing. So you get to kind of like restart and not have to like rely on the last painting to be associated with this painting, other than like your style and all that shit. But
right. But yeah, especially, that's a good thing to bring up about like the parallels with the art, because it is like a show is almost like in artist terms like doing a series of artwork. Like how do you keep that not only fresh for yourself but like keep like upping the ante, like how to get it better and better as you go along and still keeping on the series. And I think it's so hard. That's why so many artists end up doing a lot of different series in their lifetime.
For sure. And and not only that, but then the TV shows, they have to, so it's like a season has to connect, and then after the season it's like the seasons, and then you have to have like an arc over the full season, and then like mini arcs of the storyline within the season. But then again, most artwork that artists create is just you and your artwork, where they have like full fucking teams and writers and these rooms. So it's like a huge group effort to get this shit done. So there is that advantage of a group mind and bouncing ideas off. Usually with those kind of things, there has to be like a thought out. I think for like TV shows to be a really good TV show, at least nowadays, they have to have like an idea of when it ends, like, and how it ends. Yeah. That's why, like, Game of Thrones, they have that like the first couple seasons are so good, and it's because George R. Martin wrote the books with an idea of how it's going to end, and it's slowly, it's been good, but it's like you guys
getting away from it.
Yeah, they've totally gotten away from it. And George R. Martin's talked about it and said, like, you guys kind of fucked it up because these people you omitted from the storyline or whatever are super important to how the book ends. Like, so because George R. Martin has an idea of how it ends. Yeah. And he's been working up to that. So I don't know. I don't even know if artists in our medium ever even think that way of like how to complete a group of works with the end result being the end. Like I mean, I'm sure there is, because I have like an idea I've talked to you about that I've been working on for years.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And everything is kind of
Are you talking about the one with the interviews and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And that one is kind of like everything is like a build up, is like building me technically being as good as I can be and learning these things, skill sets to accomplish this final, like, I don't know, final piece is the word, but everything's kind of leading up to it. So I'm sure other people are kind of in that mindset of like, I have this idea, I know how I want it to end. Yeah. But I can't get there yet. So everything has to kind of like work its way to there.
Yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I have a few of those ideas kind of like that, or stuff that I get to a certain point, I'm like, oh, I need to make a detour and explore this and get better at that and then come back to it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. On the topic of Donald Glover, have you seen that music video?
This Is America.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've heard about it. I mean, I'd heard about it before you told me about it, but the way you were telling me about it convinced me to like actually fire up my YouTube and actually watch it.
Yeah, I like how you say fire up, like it like pull a cord, like
Yeah, exactly.
like check the gas.
Yeah. And so so I watched it, and I had with you in mind watching it, and what was interesting to me about it were all the like subtle little narrative elements in it that you have to absorb after watching it a few times.
Right.
Like there's the overarching sort of metaphor that he's making like, pretty overtly, like calling the song "This Is America,"
right?
And then showing all like the violence, and I thought it was like really well done. Like even like the way that it hits you the first time,
right?
And like the deeper you go into it, like oh, what did he mean when he said that, or like how the visuals relate to what he's saying in the song.
Yeah. I mean, there's like things that I think I when I first saw it, I just saw that Donald Glover had a new song, so I was like, cool. Let me watch it.
Oh, you didn't know anything about it?
I didn't know anything about it. And I started watching it, and MJ's like, oh, did you watch this because blah, blah, posted about it? I'm like, oh, they did?
Yeah.
No. And we started watching it was on my screen, on our living room TV, and I was watching and I was like, holy shit. Like, that was fucking amazing. So I just replayed it again. And then I just started seeing on like everyone's like social media and thing, just starting to talk about it. I'm like, oh, like, that's cool. This is a thing, you know?
That's a pretty powerful statement. Like, like the fact that it's like gone viral that way, it's pretty interesting too.
Yeah. It's because
it's like, oh, it's something that's really well done. It actually went viral. So nice.
I think there's a good amount of there's like I don't know about good amount, but there is a small amount of, especially in like the rap community, of like guys like really doing something. You know, like there is this huge thought process behind what they're doing. It's like almost like Donald Glover, like the actual song isn't the best of songs. Like it isn't like super amazing. It's not this super amazing song, but when you watch it with the music video, and then you realize like he had this idea of the final picture. It wasn't just like the song and then like, let's figure out a move. It was like all of this was like a total package of like his artwork and how to deliver it in the proper form.
It was like this multimedia art piece thing.
And so in that sense, it's amazing. And then the fact that he's like a legitimate actor allows him to pull his face and do certain things that most rappers just can't even do. So you get this like amazing delivery of this performance from the musician that most musicians can't do just because they're not as skilled as him at acting. So it's just like this amazing thing that happens. And
I thought the mixture of exaggerated and fluid motions. It even like made sense for the what he was saying and how he was delivering it. Like, all the pieces of it like came together in a really neat way. I just thought it was really cool.
And you know, it's like people are having these arguments online or whatever about it because of the obvious conversation he's trying to have of gun violence. And I don't know, my thought process behind that was so like there seems to be like a good amount of people that are offended by the fact that he's talking about gun violence, which to me is weird because he's almost just, the idea, at least to me, of the whole video is that something horrible happens with gun violence, and then we instantly forget about it and try to be happy and whatever, and then it happens again, we're all shocked. Like that's like the overall like storyline is just like something horrible happens, we freak the fuck out, and then like 2 minutes later we're like back on our phones and back on fucking like being happy and blah 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 and which to me is weird that people would find offense to that, because it's like, well, you can agree that the shootings are bad, right? Like, can we even get there? Like, like we can have a discussion about like the Second Amendment and and like what you think they meant or what you think it should mean or whatever. Like, feel free to like go in that direction, but that's not what he's even talking about.
Right.
He's literally talking about the actual shootings. Like there's a part where there's like 9 singers and he shoots them, and it's like obvious.
The choir,
yeah, it's obvious he's talking. At least to me, it's obvious he's talking about that shooting.
Yeah,
in that church, like with like
Charlottesville.
Or some shit like that, where that guy walked in and shot out like 9 church members,
right?
Black church members. It was like a white supremacist kid, you know. It's like he's obviously like it's an actual, like it's an actual group shooting he is talking about here. Like we can agree that was a bad shooting. Like like we have to have like I don't know. It's just weird. People are so like pushed back on everything right now. It's kind of like this weird, like relax, people. Like you can have the discussion without feeling attacked.
Yeah. Well, it's also like a thing where one of the main criticisms about hip hop, or at least that's been before, that there's a lot of glorification of gun violence without real consequences. And it's like, well, here's somebody making a statement about the violence. It's like, why? Isn't that what you wanted? Somebody to have like a deeper conversation about?
I know.
It's like,
it's so weird. People
they don't even know what they're criticizing. They just think they don't look at it any deeper than what they just saw the headline and think it's all just the same thing over and over again.
It's all that like just tribal mentality bullshit.
Right. Happens. Which was like. Which was hilarious about Alex Jones's reaction to it.
What happened?
So I guess he had a little snippet of it on the on one of his recent radio shows.
Right, real news.
Yeah, exactly. And so he said something like the globalists are putting out
the globalists are putting
out putting out
propaganda.
They're propping up.
Probably guess what he's gonna say.
I mean,
it's lizard people are putting up this propaganda to take away our arms so the government can control us with their brainwashing powers.
Right. More or less about that. But the funniest part about it to me was saying like he's like, what did he say? You might not know what you're looking at, but I know what you're looking at. He's doing a voodoo dance. It's like, I've seen that before. That's a voodoo dance that he's doing.
That is hilarious.
And like, what he said that is like, well, he's doing a like sort of like a minstrel sort of thing in certain areas, and it's kind of like this thing. It's like he's kind of doing that on purpose, making it like this sort of like historically like black.
It's like he's intertwining like traditional African dance with like current dance moves and like and that goes with like the music as well. Like there's like this traditional like African rhythm and like guitar playing that goes on in the beginning, and then it like goes into like hard fucking like hitting rap fucking beats. So,
exactly,
but yeah, I mean,
so it's like Donald knows that he's doing that. Like he's not trying to put it over on you. He actually wants you to know that. He wants you to get that in context. He's not trying to trick you into.
Alex Jones is such a trip. That guy.
He's so ridiculous.
I mean, he's the truth.
I mean, I subscribe and donate.
And he's got these great vitamins and this stuff I put in my water to take out the fluorides.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, Newtown was a hoax, but still, I mean.
God. I don't even know how to. I don't know, man. That's like I don't know. It's always like weird because you know, you like see shit like Alex Jones and you're like, God, he's going to be like the end of the world. And then you hear about like people like human beings like in the future, they're predicting that we're going to like lose antibiotics. Like we're just going to become immune to them.
Sure.
And then you're like, well, that's for sure the end of the world. And then you hear about like super volcanoes and asteroids, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, Alex Jones kind of isn't shit. He's just a crazy person. I don't even know if he's crazy. He is. The other day I was trying to figure out who Alex Jones is trying to troll. That was like when I was like, is he trolling like the listeners or is he trolling the liberals? Like, who is he trolling? Because he's selling stuff to his listeners and he knows he's lying. Like at least I'm assuming he knows he's lying because I've seen things where people call him out and he's kind of giving them like a look, and Joe Rogan's like friends with him and he's like kind of mentioned that that's a character he plays and things like that. And I'm like, so who is he fucking with?
Well, I mean, it was for the courts, but he did like blatantly admit that like he's playing a character in that thing with him and his ex-wife or something like that for custody.
Oh, right.
He had like a custody battle a little while ago.
Yeah, and then he'll say like, I'm not, my listeners know I'm not playing a character. I just had to say that.
Yeah, exactly.
Or some shit like that.
Yeah, right.
But
so I don't know. He just found an audience that.
So who is he fucking with though? That's what I was trying to figure out. I was like, he knows he's like playing a character, but he's probably like half. He probably also believes in like 90% of the shit he spews.
Right. Yeah.
But he's got to know he's lying about certain shit. Like there's certain shit he's talking about, like the fluorides thing, where it's like chemists will just tell you instantly, like, nope, that's not true. Like first of all, I don't know that much about chemistry, but when I first heard him say that shit, he combined hydrofluoric acid with fluorides and made them and pretended they were the same exact thing. Oh, and I was like, that is incorrect. Like hydrofluoric acid is a fucking acid that leaches into your skin and pulls out calcium from your bones and shit.
Oh, wow.
And kills you that way. That's not the same as fluorides.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know why I fucking went on this random rant, but it's like, it's just so fucking stupid. It's like, these are things you can just literally just Google and you'll get the answer. I know Google's fake news and all, but.
Right, yeah. But what about the gay frogs?
Well, I mean, that's a real thing for sure.
Yeah.
I've seen them. They have little parades and
have little pink bow ties.
Yeah. And when they swim, they like bend their wrist like extra. But yeah.
And they croak with a lisp. Somehow. I don't even know how to explain it, but they do.
You know when you hear it.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. But they were born that way. That wasn't a choice.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I don't know how the fuck we got to where we're at.
Donald Glover.
That was Donald Glover.
Yeah. That was all from
but it like
America.
It went back from like Donald Glover, and then we went through like Community in Atlanta, and Atlanta was talking about TV shows.
Oh yeah.
And it's all a conspiracy.
Yeah. But speaking of TV shows, I freaking binge watched Cobra Kai the other day. It's like I'll give this a listen. I'll give us a look because I kept.
That's on YouTube, right?
Yeah, YouTube Red. I've had YouTube Red for a while.
Is that the one you pay for?
Yeah.
Oh, sucker! Yeah. Fell for the trap.
No, I've had it for a while because I watch stuff on YouTube, but on my phone. But if you have just the regular app, you have to stay on the YouTube app to watch anything. If you go out of it, then it'll turn the video off.
Oh.
So like if you're listening to like a podcast or something on or a radio show on YouTube, then yeah, you have to use YouTube Red.
Oh, I see. Like you can like off your phone and still listen.
Right. Yeah. So you can like use other apps while using YouTube if you have YouTube Red.
I see.
It was worth it for me, but I never actually watched any of the actual like original program.
The first person I've ever met that's bought YouTube Red.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Oh.
I've always every time they try to sell me on, I'm like, who's the dumb fuck buying this?
The dumb fuck that hates ads. But
I'm just kidding. I only say that half the time.
But no, it's actually like a really good show. Like way better than I ever would have thought to give it credit for.
So is it a comedy? That's what I'm wondering.
Not really.
Is it like trying to hold true to like the Karate Kid like?
Well, I haven't seen the original Karate Kid in such a long time that I'm not even sure how it holds up these days. But I think the feel of it is pretty similar to it, where I mean, it's not like super serious, but it does get into the storytelling of it is actually pretty interesting because it gets a lot of like there's a lot of moral gray zones in the episode, like in the story.
Is it shot like modern shooting?
Yeah, no, it's actually shot really well. It doesn't look like somebody shooting with the iPhone or something like that. It looks like a legit like
no, what
TV
I mean
production.
is like like the look of like the.
Oh, you mean like VHS tape sort of stuff? Oh, no. It's updated enough for that because it takes place in like what is it? When did the first one come out in the 80s? So it takes place in the same universe 30 years later. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, the interesting thing about it is that like it's about Cobra Kai, so it's about like the dude Johnny from the original one. So like he starts out, he's like this drunk, like his life is kind of a mess, and so like
it's a documentary.
Yeah, exactly. And he meets the neighbor. His kid is like getting beat up all the time.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, this is all episode 1, so it's free on YouTube, so you'll be able to see it.
Oh, I thought you had to pay.
The first episode they give you free. That's how they get you.
That's how they always get you.
Yeah. But
everyone uses the fucking dope dealer model.
Exactly.
Nowadays. Yeah. You give them a little taste.
Right. Yeah.
And you make them pay for the heroin.
Sign up. Subscribe to my email list, everybody. So, but yeah, like it starts out where it starts off with telling Johnny where he's at and like how like introducing like the new younger characters in it, and then like the second episode is about Daniel LaRusso and how he's like a car salesman now. Like he owns all this, like a big thing in the valley of San Fernando and all that. So it takes place all in the same spot. But, it goes back and forth where like, well, Johnny's not all bad, but, Daniel's not all good. Like they do a lot of like fucked up things and they also do a lot of good things. So yeah, you just never know exactly like who's actually you're rooting for the whole time. Like there's certain parts that are like, yeah, like the new kid's like awesome, but oh, he did that.
You root for Danny.
Most of the time, but then sometimes you don't.
No, you always root for him.
Even when he's being a scumbag. But
don't do this, Sergio. Mr. Miyagi. Do you even remember him?
Well, that's how he lost his way.
I just saw a thing on Reddit about Mr. Miyagi.
Oh, really?
Where they just had a picture of him where he's talking about his wife and how she was in this area, which was like an internment camp for.
Oh, okay.
And he's like wearing like his army uniform, and so it said like Mr. Miyagi was fighting for America in the movie. Like his story is like he fought in World War I or II or something like that.
While his probably
while his wife. Yeah, for sure too. That makes sense. While his wife was in an internment camp.
Okay.
And you're like, ooh, that's kind of a dark little like detail.
Oh, wow. Yeah. But there is one episode where they kind of talk a little bit about, or like they allude to, there was a viral video a few years ago where this guy breaks down the first Karate Kid and basically convince you that Danny LaRusso was the bad guy in that. Yeah. And so there's this part in one of the episodes where they basically like kind of break it down that way, where you hear like how from like Johnny's perspective, like how Daniel was this like punk kid coming out of nowhere and like stealing his girl and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty funny. Like they do have like little things like that in there.
Right.
So. No, I thought it was a lot better than I expected it to be, and so I binged that.
We're talking a lot about TV shows on our podcast.
I haven't barely been painting much these days.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, I'm starting. I got to paint. Soon.
Yeah, I mean, I did start a few things I got to work on.
Yeah, what do you have?
So yeah, we both are doing the 111 minute show.
Oh yeah.
And
got to do that.
Yeah. And, I have the reference, made for that and
Me
everything.
Too.
And, I'm, doing 2 versions of the same sort of thing for, So I'm doing one oil painting for the 111-minute show and sketchbook for the Moleskine show at Spoke Art.
Nice. That's a good show.
Yeah. So I started the sketch for the Moleskine.
Those should be pretty fast, though, or at least the Moleskine one. It's at
hopefully
least, it's kind of small. I always wonder that because it's like a small thing you're working on, but
yeah,
that show's become such a big show where you're like, the pressure's on. I got to make sure I got some dope shit.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if that's
definitely.
how you feel.
No, I do. Yeah. Like the first year I did, like the ones I did were relatively sketchy, but I think everybody sort of stepped it up because. Like you see one or two people do like a full-fledged. You see one or two people. I should know this by now, but you see one or two people do a full-fledged, like it's basically an 8x10 painting. That's basically how a lot of people are
right. And they're
approaching it.
And whatever they do is usually like a very rendered piece of their artwork. Very thought out. For this show.
Right, yeah.
Compared to like, if it was literally like, just, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, it would be, in my head, I'm like, it would be cool if they just gave the artist like a sketchbook and then they let them work in the sketchbook and then they sent the sketchbook back and then they just picked the best one and frame that up. Like a legit...
You leave it up to the curator to figure it out which one's the best one?
Yeah, or maybe give, like, the artist can say, like, this is the one I like the most, but yeah, I mean, it ends up just being, it's like every other thing where they give you something to paint on and you paint on it. But I also kind of really like the... I like peeking into like artist sketchbooks. That's like a cool thing. So that would be cool if you could somehow accomplish that. I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't really know either.
Yeah, they do have those like cool sketchbooks that people work on. Where they kind of like they are like a accordion type paper.
Oh, sure.
And then it ends up a lot of them will like do like one full like storyline throughout like the. Have you seen those before?
I think I have.
So then you can like cut open the sketchbook and then like spread it out or whatever, and it like it's like each piece is just like some huge panorama story thing that they do. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. But even that doesn't really apply. They're like going into it knowing. I don't know. Sometimes I like my sketchbook stuff. There's definitely a lot of shit pages in my sketchbook.
Yeah, sure.
So I doodle a lot on lunch, and like I would say like 3 out of 4 I hate what I just did, but it's just doodle as fast as you can. Yeah, play around.
So do you go back to the same page like the next day sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah. If I like if I'm starting, if I draw something and I kind of like what it's doing, but usually it's like one sit and one doodle, or I've been doing like 2 shitty doodles and then try to do one as fast as I can. I just got back into doodling on my lunch recently, and yeah, that's what
You took a break from it?
I was just getting too busy at work.
Oh, okay.
Where lunch was like, throw some food in my face and then get back to work.
Yeah.
And I was just burnt out, and I was also getting ready for that show. So it's
right,
like,
yeah.
I don't really feel like drawing on my lunch. I feel like looking at a YouTube video or something.
Yeah.
Like,
saving your art energy for the show.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that.
So, yeah, there was like 2 months of neglect in my sketchbook, but it's fine. It'll survive.
For the most part, would you say you do more trying to explore ideas for future paintings in your sketchbook, or is it more just like whatever catches you at the moment of lunch or whatever?
Mostly the second one.
Oh, okay.
It's mostly just I save a lot of like random pictures on Instagram under like the bookmark or whatever that thing
sure,
is.
yeah.
And I'll just like flip through there and see what I want to draw that day and then draw it.
Oh, okay.
Every once in a while, if I've like some concept that I want to like play around with, I'll just doodle. See, like just I won't use a reference usually. Then I'll just kind of like doodle kind of like ideas that might look good aesthetically for that idea and see how they look on in my sketchbook. But
Sure.
but yeah, that's or even just like if I see sometimes on like Instagram, there'll be like a pose a model will do. I'm like, oh, that would work really good for like this idea. Let me try to see if I can like doodle it and work in this idea with it and see how that looks. And then if it looks decent, then I'll have the model try to pose.
Oh, okay, sure.
Kind of similar to the other model, and then set up the lighting as I want it, and
Okay.
whatever,
Yeah.
But it's all different. It just depends.
No, okay.
How about you?
That's cool. These days, I almost never just sketch just to doodle. It's very rare that I do that. It's almost all just trying to work out ideas for paintings or something like that. I used to do like little compositional sketches out of my head, just like little sort of abstract little things.
Right.
But I haven't done anything like that in a while. If my phone is almost dead, then I'll put my phone away and start like sketching whatever's around me. But I used to do that way more, but the phone ruined me.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's, we were talking about that the other day. Back to bring up the homie Picasso again.
Yeah.
MJ was like, yeah, but he, like, because Leon mentioned that he was 16.
Sure. Yeah.
And I was like, I don't care. I was like, it's more impressive that we create art at our level with the fact that we have a smartphone attached to us at all times. Like, the fact that the artists nowadays are creating the artwork they are is so much more impressive to me, because we have so many distractions in this world where they're like,
exactly.
What did Picasso
Your
have?
discipline has to be like twice as strong as
Yeah. He didn't even have TV, I think, right? TV wasn't invented at that point.
Not at that point, no.
So he had nothing, literally nothing. The radio, that's even
Books.
that'll help you with painting. What?
Yeah. Yeah, like you're making pictures in your head. Just copy those pictures. You heard.
So yeah. So
we're better artists these days.
Yeah. So
That's what we're trying to say.
Even if we're at the same level of the artist back then that's a bigger accomplishment, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's more impressive to me. Those fucking guys, they just had nothing but time. Just woke up and, milk their cows and I don't know. I don't fucking know.
Sell bread.
Yeah, at the same time, they probably had to like do other shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm fucking up my own argument. God damn it.
Moving on.
Yeah, I was right earlier, so just
Don't think about it.
just keep moving. But yeah.
Do you know? So you have your idea of what you're doing for the show?
Yeah, I have my idea, and I'm gonna nail it, and then I'm gonna make $1 million. Not like from the painting, but someone's just gonna give me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy a lottery ticket and $1 million.
Yeah.
No connection, but yeah. But yeah, how you went to you were able to go to your spoke art show, right?
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was too busy,
cool.
Exhausted from fishing to go to that.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
How was that?
It was exhausting. It was fun.
Well, how was it exhausting? Like, what'd you do?
We just fished for 5 hours, but I don't know, because we had to get to the dock by 5 o'clock
In the morning?
So, and that was in Berkeley, so I had to wake up, get ready, and go. So I woke up at 3, I think, 3 or 3:30 to head out. I think 3:30 to get ready and then head out.
Okay. Yeah.
And I didn't go to sleep that early the night before. I think I went to sleep at like 11. So minimal amount of sleep. And then I started drinking. I believe my first beer was at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Nice.
So, you just end up drinking for 4 hours. And by hour 5, you're like baking in the sun.
Yeah.
And
it was a nice day that day, too.
Yeah. And you're kind of like, ooh, this is hitting me hard.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if the rocking of the boat makes you any more tired either.
I have no idea.
I have no idea. I don't know if holding your balance affects you that much or not. I don't know. but everyone was pretty exhausted by the end of the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then I drove home.
Did you guys catch anything?
Yeah, I caught 2 fish.
Nice.
Halibut and a striper bass.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're in my fridge. I also
Halibut's good.
Yeah, I also caught the biggest fish of the day. And we had a pool, so I won $180.
Damn.
Yeah. So I paid for my trip
Nice.
and everything.
Oh, okay, sweet.
So I broke even.
Yeah.
Plein air event.
Yeah, I should have just went fishing.
But yeah, so that was me, and I wanted to go to your show, but I just
Yeah, I hit up MJ to see if she wanted to come, but she was busy. Also, probably working on paintings and stuff.
Yeah, she's pretty busy right now.
She told me. Yeah,
and I think she was trying to figure out if I was gonna want to go.
Right,
and I let
yeah,
her
yeah.
know, like, I can't.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fucking dead.
Mm-hmm.
I think I slept when I got home. I just slept. Actually, it was Cinco de Mayo, so they forced me to go out for a little bit, and I just complained until they let me go home and sleep. But yeah.
Yeah.
And then you were at.
Yeah, I went. Yeah, I was at Spoke Art in San Francisco.
Did anyone call you a pretentious cunt?
No.
That happens at shows, by the way.
Oh, do you want to get into that at all?
We'll talk about Spoke Art.
Okay.
Maybe we'll circle back.
All right. Yeah. No pretentious concept at my show, as far as I could tell. Yeah. So yeah, I probably got there around like close to 7, and it wasn't really all that packed. Like, as far as a Spoke Art show goes, it could be way worse.
Right.
But yeah, I was able to actually look at all the art
Nice.
as I was there, which is one of the main complaints that I have about doing the
For
reception.
sure.
So yeah, happy to say my piece sold. So,
Nice.
So that's always good.
So you broke even again.
Yeah, I actually made a profit that one.
Yeah.
That's all we want.
Better recognize.
Yep.
Best recognize.
And
Is it because did you wear your ribbon? Is that what?
yeah, exactly. That was already sold by the time I got there. Like,
Nice. That's the best.
The
feeling.
word got out from Atlanta. Yeah, that is always the best.
Yeah, going to a show and seeing the red dot, and you're like, "Fuck yes!"
Yeah.
Now I just have to get drunk.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now I got one job to do.
And so, what's funny though was a few people I met there. There were a couple people that came from that share the studio building with Felicia and Mario.
Felicia, our guest.
Yeah, Felicia Gabaldon.
Gobbledygook.
Yeah, that she one of the building mates there, Mario, is actually a listener of our show.
Oh yeah, Mario.
Yeah.
He's the homie. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's funny because we were like talking about our podcast to him at the art show. It's
Nice.
kind of funny. But yeah, there were a few other people from there. Then Felicia did show up later on with Sandrine. So that was fun because we hung out there for a while. Then we ended up going to a different show afterwards of that dude, Black Larat.
Yeah,
The
I've
French.
been to one of his shows before a long time ago.
Yeah, the
They
French.
got white walls.
Probably something like that. But I don't know if you know which one the Weinstein Gallery is. It's in Union Square.
Is it the one that drugs you?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, who's going to make the Weinstein?
Does he drug? No, he doesn't drug people. Is it the one with the bad acne scars and the?
It's the one that was it? Shoot, what does he do again?
I think he just pressures girls to like sleep with him for roles.
Yeah, but he did something like something about a house plant, something like that. I forget.
Oh, really?
There's something has to do with house plant. I don't remember anymore. Been so many scandals, it's hard to keep track of all of them.
Yeah,
But no, different Weinstein.
guys are real pieces of shit.
It's true. Just when you're like, not all of them, you hear about it. Some shit he thinks someone
You
else
hear
did.
about Bill Cosby, you're like, Bill?
Yeah. That's so crazy.
But yeah.
So yeah, there.
I think I've been to the Weinstein Gallery. Which one is that?
It's the one that has a lot of like prints of. I think they sometimes have like Picasso prints and Matisse prints and stuff like that.
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about. Do they have any
They've had like
muchas?
Yeah, they have before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I think I know which one you're talking
Yeah,
about. Yep,
I think they sometimes do like Dr. Seuss shows there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
all those galleries seem to have Dr. Seuss's and
I know.
Dolly Doodles. And
Exactly. Yeah. So I guess they have like another like a warehouse kind of gallery down on Mission and 6th or 5th or something down there.
Okay.
So we ended up going down there and hanging out at that show for a while. And Felicia, her main selling point was that, there's going to be this DJ and everyone's going to be dancing. It's like,
that is never the truth at an art show?
Yeah.
The fuck?
I was like, well, first of all, that's not a selling point for me.
Felicia, be regular.
Yeah, exactly. We said that so many times. And so, yeah, it was funny to talk about Felicia. I'd say 80% of our conversation was about her episode.
You know what's funny is that bitch be regular. Like after we recorded the episode, Monty told me what happened, and I was like, oh, that is not how she explained it.
Oh, really?
She got super drunk one night, as sometimes we do. And the next day, Monty just said, be regular. Like, don't go too crazy.
Oh,
like
okay.
That was like his advice. It was like, just like, don't go too hard. At least that's how I took it. Right. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I just thought it was hilarious because I couldn't figure out what she was talking about the entire episode when she brought that up. Because she said, Monty told me.
Bitch be regular.
Yeah, she's like, Monty told me to tell you, bitch be regular. I'm like, no. But yeah, that's cool. So you guys hung out with Felicia and Sandrini's.
Yeah, and I hadn't really. I mean, I'd seen Sandrine a bunch of times at like shows at Wonderland and stuff, but that was the first time like we actually like talked and stuff. So
nice,
it was cool. Yeah, I got to know her
much more. She was at the party.
I know. I barely talked to her at all there either. So, well, that was I really like got to know Felicia better at the party too. So, I just take my sweet time with new people. But yeah, so we got there. You know, there was no DJ, but whatever. There was enough free beer.
Nice.
And yeah, the show was cool.
There was no DJ?
What?
There was no DJ?
Well, there was the DJ equipment, and then the DJ was just like roaming around or whatever. I didn't even know he was the DJ until like
he was
Felicia
probably like walking around the crowd like, hey, you see that DJ equipment? That's mine. No big deal.
Yeah. Like, so you gonna use it? Like,
hey, ladies. See that DJ equipment over there? I brought that.
I brought that. Like, that's a bragging point.
That's hilarious. Well, that's cool.
Yeah. So,
and you sold a painting, and then you got to hang out with friends.
Yeah. And Sandrine was speaking French with Black Laurent. So, because they're both Frenchies.
That's my French.
I have no idea what you just said.
I said nothing.
Okay.
That was gibberish. I've seen... I got a bad joke. Never mind. I'm just going to cross that one out before I say it.
Wow. Must be really bad for you not to throw that one out.
But yeah, nice.
Yeah, so
he was at the show?
Uh-huh. Yeah, he was there.
Nice.
And they got like their selfies with them.
He looks like his work looks like Banksy's work, right? Except for just before Banksy. Yeah. He looks like the work Banksy ripped off.
Yeah.
Like, his best put.
It's basically like, I guess that's their kind of beef these days. Right. From what I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was very much like a ripoff.
Right. But yeah, the rat there is like his rat, basically. Yeah. It's like, wow, okay.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, it must be shitty to be him, and then people being like, oh, it's kind of like Banksy stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like
that must be brutal.
Like, yes, it is.
Yeah, it's just like his, except for I did it first.
Yeah, exactly.
But, good stuff.
Seems like he had a good time there. We went, like, I guess there was like this little party up in the loft area of it that like first it was supposed to be like, oh, just like his place to hang out and like in private, like talk with his friends. They just after a while they're just like, just come upstairs with us, like the
nice.
Curator of the gallery. So we got to hang out and eat all this pizza and shit like that. That's what we do, as our starving artist types will do. We'll steal all your food and drink all your wine.
People are gonna start putting their bacon in safes when they when artists come
exactly. Yeah. All the bacon. No bacon. It was that was the only disappointment of the night. No bacon.
Fucking assholes. Or any lobster? Was there any lobster?
Nope, no lobster.
Huh. All right. Well, anticlimactic was that story.
Yeah, but everyone is like, it's too bad Josh and MJ aren't out. But I figure we'll see. Everybody will get back together at 1:11 minute for the show.
Yeah, that's true. It's gonna be full on at that show.
I hope so.
It's gonna be too many people. That's when I'm like, yeah.
Oh, really?
Find a small group of people to talk to for the rest of the night.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I'm not that into that. But I mean, I am and I'm not.
Yeah, it depends on the show.
Yeah.
For me, if it's just me, if I'm at a show where even if it's like a solo show, if I don't know anybody else around there, it's still pretty awkward. Right.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, if you have a solo show, Sergio, invite your friends.
If it's out of town, then, then I'm like shit out of luck there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But I mean, I'll invite people to San Francisco shows, but we'll see who shows up to these. It's always a crapshoot.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, with the podcast now, get my reach up.
yeah, that's kind of how it works.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's cool because like I don't know if I would have like become like good friends with a lot of people now, now that like Monty and Leon and Felicia and all those people,
right?
I just have no problem with talking to them now because of the podcast.
You're poaching my friends.
Exactly. Yeah.
They can't be your friends or my friends. You ever had a friend like that once? He was like jealous that he had a group of friends and then one of our friends, like we were all friends, but one of our friends became closer friends with that group of friends. He was like, those are my friends. Like, what are we, fucking 5, man? Like, relax.
Exactly. Well, I think you'll just have to go to Colorado with Judson around me.
Oh, I know. Yeah, we hung out with Judson the other day. That was cool.
Yeah. Got to see his palatial estate that his in-laws own.
Yeah, we ate all his pizza. Yeah, because that's what we do.
Exactly. We're living up to our reputation. All the pizza and beer. Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was cool too.
Yeah, it was fun. We had a off mic podcast a little bit at the end there.
Yeah,
I was just like hanging out, shooting the shit.
I wasn't even thinking about that. That would have probably been a decent listen.
Yeah,
we talked more about art that day than we did today.
Yeah, exactly. But we came up with our cool idea for our anti-art trails idea.
You have to keep it quiet. Has to be.
Oh yeah, that's part of the gig.
The rule of the gig is that there is no gig.
Yeah, exactly.
First rule.
We're just shitting on the Santa Rosa art scene heavily.
Well, not the entire Santa Rosa art scene. Just like, what is it called? Art trails.
Art trails. Yeah.
It's like something they do here where people go and it's like an artist studio visit thing, but the artists kind of get fucked in the long run. Yeah,
artists spend way too much money to participate in this thing, and there's all these rules they have to adhere to.
Yeah, and then they make you volunteer 10 hours of your time to
which
work
I didn't know that they'd make you do that. It's like, what the hell? Why am I giving you this money too?
Yeah, it's like, give us my money back and then work for us for free. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
that's crazy that they do that. Yeah. I didn't know that till we hung out with Judson. It's like, whoa, that's horrific. I mean, I've heard some good things about art trails where like people sell like a decent amount of artwork through that. Which is good, I guess. But I mean, for sure it's good. But yeah, I don't know. I guess
it seems to me there's better ways to get that same result.
Yeah. But then what if like it's like a gallery takes 50%? So if you pay $500 and can make more than $1,000, technically that's a better cut than most galleries will give you.
That's true.
So
that's
if
probably a good
the
way to
math
look
works
at it.
out, I mean, technically you work for them for 10 hours, so let's add on like another couple hundred. So if you make more than 1,000, we'll say, then, or 2,000, then you're doing better than any gallery will give you as far as the cut.
Right. Yeah. I just wonder how many artists are actually doing that.
Yeah, I don't know, but I know MJ. She had like a teacher friend person named Mary something.
Yeah.
And she like makes, I guess, all of her like yearly income from that one art trails.
Yeah, which is crazy. I had no idea people could even do that.
Yeah. So, I mean, she seems like a hustler in general. Like she has like a huge email list that she emails all her buyers, like that she's like ever had for like the last, I don't know how many years, you know? And so it's probably more on her. Like she could probably stop doing the art trails.
Yeah, exactly.
And just email everyone and say like, I'm going to be here. Yeah, I mean, maybe she does do that. I don't fucking know, really.
Yeah, who knows?
But yeah, that's maybe she capitalizes on that, which wouldn't be the worst move if you did Art Trails.
Art Trails. There's like two of them in the county. There's Art Trails and Art the Source. So I wonder if she does them both.
I don't know, but it's a weird little thing.
Yeah, it's just like it just seems like they've been doing things that way for such a long time and nobody's really questioned it, or they're just like resigned to the fact that that's the way it goes if you do that.
Right.
So it's not until somebody outside of that circle is like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
Are you guys serious? Like,
yeah. I mean, I was told a long time ago to never pay to like show your art. You know, it's like a rule of thumb, and I always kind of thought that was pretty solid advice.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Like, you definitely don't want to do like vanity gallery type stuff,
right?
Which is like, if people don't know that, that's like where you pay you're basically renting out the space for your own show. You're paying the gallery, and they don't have any incentive to sell your work because they've already gotten money from you, from the artist. Yeah. Anything that's like too preying on the artists, like taking too much money from the artist, I'm not into.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I know MJ was talking about some gallery that reached out to her. It was like a 70-30 cut.
Yeah, which is crazy.
And it was like 70 on their part, and I'm like, that's fucking ridiculous.
Right.
And it's like and their logic behind it is like, we have to ship the painting, we have to pay our rent for the place. It's like, so do artists have to pay for their studio space. We have to deliver the art to you. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
we have to buy the frames or whatever. Yeah,
we have to buy our art supplies and our whatever the fuck we're painting on, and it takes hours and hours to paint this painting.
Right.
But somehow we have to worry about your expenses, but you don't have to worry about our expenses. It's like some ridiculous thought process that they had. I don't know. It seems like two people talking themselves up almost, like,
oh really?
That's and whenever I hear something that ridiculous, I'm always like, who the fuck was a part of that conversation? Like, obviously no artist. I mean, and that predicament is like, there was no artist being like, well, you got to think about, there was no counter to their thought process of making it 70%. I don't know. Anytime anyone.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same. It sounds to me like the same logic that people do, or galleries will tell you when you question them about their 50-50 split.
Right.
Which is like, it's still like, okay, I'd rather make more than that, but I can kind of, all right, we're partnership here, so 50-50 makes more sense to me.
Right.
Than, like, what about... What are you bringing to the table that's 20% that you're earning that extra 20%?
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like anything that any other gallery isn't doing.
It better be a guaranteed fucking sell.
Right, yeah.
And at a way marked up price.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you want to buy my paintings outright and sell them on your own, that's a different story.
Exactly. And then you can take 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think there are some galleries that will do that, but I think they're dealing with people who artists who have bigger names,
Right.
or at least a proven, like they know they're gonna sell them. So it's like flipping the art basically.
Right. Or like those like art auction kind of.
Yeah.
It's almost like the same model probably.
Probably. Yeah.
So like they're buying art for investment reasons more than like they probably buy it with the idea that they can sell it for more, which makes sense.
Right.
And that's how my art works, in case you guys were wondering. Like once you buy my artwork, then you could probably sell it for like way more. Probably true.
Have you ever come across that, somebody trying to sell your artwork?
No, but when I was in high school, we had like this little like high school art show thing, and my art teacher, she put like this pastel ballerina thing I drew in an art class in there, and then there was like this French teacher who taught French. So he's super weak, like physically weak. Okay. French. That's just a joke I keep talking about in front of Sandrine.
Okay. What did she say? One of her hashtags was like, "Don't fuck with my beret" or something like that.
So he was super weak, and but he every year he would like pick out like his favorite piece of art from the show, and then he would contact the art teacher and tell he would contact the art teacher, which was Miss Foster. Shout out Miss Foster. And she would tell the art student that you would have, and so I would have to go and sell this piece to him, and I would have to tell him like the price I wanted to sell it at, and whatever, and so say he wanted this ballerina pastel thing I did. And so I had to go meet with him, and he's like, "All right, what is your price?" But in like a weak French accent, vocal cords super weak. But and I don't remember. I think I sold it for like $75 or something. I thought it was like a huge amount of money when I was a kid because I grew up just fucking dirt poor. So like,
sure,
that to me was like, I'm fucking rich.
Yeah.
But so it was something like that, and then he was like after he agreed on the price, then he was like, "You made a big mistake." He was like, "You should have sold it for way more." And he was like, "I'm gonna put it in a frame, and the frame's gonna cost more than you just sold me the painting for." And he was like, "And then if ever I sell the painting, I'm gonna sell it for way more money." He's like, "You need to know to sell your art for more money than you're doing." And I was like, fucking asshole.
Cool, man. Well, talk to me in like 10 years.
But that was like that was the only time anyone's ever told me they might resell my work.
That's such a weird thing.
I mean, I respect it. I think he's trying to be helpful, and
but I think like at that point, like it didn't really make sense to you.
Yeah, I was more like happy to have $75 and mad that he was spending more on a frame. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How much would you have paid me? Like, but yeah. So,
that's why you make your own frames now to stick it to him. Like,
yeah.
This frame is free, bitch. But what were you saying?
That's why I'd make all my decisions with this French teacher.
Weak ass French bitch.
Yeah, and that's where all my hatred for these French come from. I saw this bad joke on Reddit where they said, "Why do French tanks have side mirrors?" And it was like to see the like. To see the war as they drive away.
Oh yeah, I've heard something similar to that. Yeah,
and I was like, that's hilarious. I mean, I got no beef with the French. I actually love a lot of what they've done to the world.
French food is amazing.
French food is one of the best.
Yeah.
Next to hot dogs. Those hot dogs, French food, Thai food,
freedom fries,
Mexican food. Well, that's American.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, freedom fries were invented in America, is what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. What was I gonna say? I haven't like seen any of my oil paintings sold, but I have seen what do you call it? When I do limited edition prints, I've seen those. Well, people have told me, because I don't really look for my own stuff on eBay, but people have told me about seeing people trying to sell limited edition prints on eBay and stuff. Not too often, but just from people who've bought them through Spoke Art or whatever.
Right. That's cool.
So, I mean,
yeah,
I don't know if it means anything in the long run, but
I remember there was like in high school, there was this club called the Renaissance Club. And it had to do with kids that had like a certain GPA. So I was never in that club. But they made me design a shirt for the club, because they would give like the Renaissance kids, they would get like bonus things. It was like kind of like a way to promote kids to get like better grades and focus on school and things. And so they would give them like these shirts and like extra, like, I don't know, stuff. I don't really know. I was never in it.
Yeah.
And they would like have like extra long lunches every once in a while, where they would like have these like pizza parties or some shit.
Okay.
If I was there, I'd have eaten all the pizza, by the way. That's what we do. And then but
foreshadowing your art career.
It's like, that boy's gonna be an artist when he grows up.
Somebody give him a beer.
But yeah, so that shirt, I did like a Renaissance shirt. I designed a Renaissance shirt for them in high school.
Okay.
And so this applies to your story, because years later, my buddy said he saw a homeless guy wearing one of those shirts. So no big brag, but someone donated that shirt to a homeless cause, and I don't know.
That sounds familiar. I think my school had a Renaissance club or something like that too. I didn't know that was a thing that other schools did.
Maybe, did you guys ever have any cool design shirts? Maybe I designed it for
I wasn't in the club. I wasn't cool enough.
It wasn't like a cool thing. Like, no one cool was in the club. Smart people were in the club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you could just say you weren't smart enough.
Okay. Sure. Whatever. Whatever shoe fits. Yeah. I'll go with that.
Yeah. It's usually a size 13. But yeah, that's cool. So I don't know what the fuck to talk about now.
What are we at now? Oh shit, we're at 142.
Holy fuck, we talked a lot.
Yeah, damn.
Well, we could talk a little bit about my art show that you weren't able to make it to.
Oh yeah. Because
I'm just, you mentioned me not going to your art show really rudely. I was there in spirit, but when my art show at Wonderland, I didn't feel your spirit.
Oh. I was doing the what do you call it? Oh, never mind. I was gonna say I don't know. You haven't seen The Last Jedi, have you?
I have.
Oh, okay. I was doing
How dare you assume?
I don't know.
I downloaded it legally.
Okay. No, fuck it.
You gave up. You were doing the fucking the Obi-Wan thing,
yeah,
or the Yoda thing.
Yeah, exactly. The thing at the end where
that was so bad. God, what do you think of that movie?
It was all right.
It's fucking sucked. I mean, the first one that J. Abrams did, I was like, "Woof, we got something here."
You mean like you liked it or no?
I really liked it.
Oh, okay.
And then the second one, I was like, let's do this, everyone. I was like, oh, man. I really do hate when you can kind of feel that they're doing something to set something up.
Oh, okay.
Like, even though you set something up, your story shouldn't be like fucking that,
Right, yeah. Like Empire Strikes Back was an amazing movie, and it was still like setting up a bunch of stuff, but it still holds up as a movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much. So so whenever that happens, I'm just like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
Just make 2 movies then. How about that?
Right. Well, that's kind of how like the what do you call it? The superhero movies, all the Marvel movies end up feeling that way. Like they're just setting up for like the big one.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that just happened. That pimple just popped.
Pimples?
Everyone's super excited about it.
Oh, for the Infinity Wars?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
I feel like I can see everything that's going to happen, but I'll just watch the trailer and be like, yep, got it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it might be good. I shouldn't be judging. It's like the movie Logan, you know? I heard that movie is really good. I probably am going to watch it at some point. But the fucking X-Men movies were so bad to me that like the first 3 were so bad. I was like, I can never watch them ever.
Oh, yeah.
So even though this one's rated R, which I appreciate,
Yeah.
and it's supposed to be good, I'm like,
no, it's pretty badass. I liked it a lot.
okay.
So, even my ex-girlfriend, who's not that into superhero movies, she's liked it. So there's an endorsement, I guess.
I guess. I feel like I've no like pros or cons for superhero movies. I just feel like most of them are done really shitty. In my opinion, I think, you know, like I really like Deadpool and like the first Hellboy or the first Hellboy and Dark Knight. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
You know.
It's probably more in the vein of the Batman movies, Logan, like that, more or less kind of that feel.
Right. I just wish they picked a different. You know, my biggest issue with them, with the Wolverine character in general, it's probably, people have probably mentioned this plenty of times, but just the fact that they fucking casted a guy that's like 6 foot something.
Oh.
And it's like Wolverine was supposed to be like this short, brooding, stocky, fucking Wolverine shaped
yeah.
person.
Yeah.
And you picked a tall person. It's like you didn't even get the most basic thing down about his character. I don't know. I don't know who I would pick. You know who would be great would be the Tom Hardy.
Oh, I was about to say,
He's perfect. I don't know how short he is, but I feel like he's short.
I don't think he's that short, right?
He's not?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't even know that Hugh Jackman was that tall, so don't go by me.
I guess, yeah. I guess you can make anyone tall or short. Yeah, like Tom Cruise is like 6 something in his dreams.
Cool. Back to your show.
Yeah.
Like, how did we just get on that? We were just talking about, like, we should talk about
that's
more
what
art.
we should. That's how we do.
Yeah.
If you came here for art talk, you've been duped.
2 hours down the drain for you.
Yeah, I don't know. My art show was super fun. Other than that one little bit I've already talked about.
Oh, how about how you were called out for being the type of person you are?
Yeah.
Off the mic. But yeah, so I guess another artist in the show, like you supposedly gave her the cold shoulder.
Yeah, I guess. I mean
that's her or his.
Yeah, she felt like I ignored her. I don't know. I don't know how much I'm supposed to acknowledge a human being at a art show.
Well, it sounded like you said hi, and then
yeah, I said like, "Oh, hey, like really nice to meet you."
But yeah, the whole thing is you were in the conversation with somebody.
Yeah,
and she.
Yeah,
or he.
And we were talking about that piece I did with like the red shirt and like her skin.
Yeah.
And I was talking to him about how I really wanted to focus on like developing that, like the transparency of skin. And then he was talking about his process. And so when he was talking about his process, I was like super into what he was saying.
Okay, sure.
And
yeah.
he was talking and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, and and then like, while he was midway through that, I get like a tap on the shoulder from MJ. So I'm like, what's up? And then she's like, oh, this is the other artist. And it's like, oh, hey, like, so nice to meet you. That's awesome. Like, great work, blah, blah, blah. Back to the story, and it's like, and that's what like that's what made me a horrible human being. I mean, I don't know. When you're at an art show, you meet so many fucking people.
Right, yeah.
And it's like,
There's a lot of people, too, that will steal your time away.
Yeah.
As well. So you got to kind of be mindful of that, too.
Yeah, exactly. And and I just try to be like as nice as I can when people say stuff, but it's like if I don't have the time or if I'm in the middle of a conversation, like I I'm not going to stop for anyone. You know, like even if I see a friend, I'll be like, hey, what's up, man? Blah, blah, blah. Back to the story. You know,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be mean. It's just the nature of the beast. Like everyone's like that. I think, you know, I don't know how many art shows she's been a part of or whatever, but she was, I don't know. There was also like something that happened where like Monty was waiting for the bathroom. I don't even know if I should talk about this, but fuck it.
What happened?
And he was waiting for the bathroom, you know, and someone was in the bathroom, and she walked right past him, and he's like, oh, there's someone in there. And then she checked the doorknob, same person.
Yeah.
Or he or she, I don't want to. Whatever, fuck, I don't care.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh yeah, someone's in there, and she said something to him, fucking like
Said she, so we're obviously talking about MJ. So
yeah, exactly, the other female. Yeah, and then yeah, and she just would like blew up on like Monty about like, and he was just. And then the person came out, and then she went in the bathroom, and Monty's like, I guess I'll just keep waiting in line, you know, like,
what the fuck?
And some other like shit happened that night in regards to that person.
Obviously this person's very respectful of other people.
Super. And they definitely aren't entitled, you know,
Right.
They definitely, so yeah, they're like a really good judgment of character. So when they called me a pretentious cunt and, gave me the finger, I was like, oh, must be true.
Just gave you the finger too?
Yeah.
Like at you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The second, so she like made this like laugh, like hackle sound and walked off the first time.
Okay.
And then and her friend was there, and I was like, oh, is your friend, like, is she okay? Like, I didn't mean to offend her, blah, blah, blah. Like, I just was in the middle of a conversation, and her friend, like, was like, oh, no, she's not mad. She's just, like, a little antisocial. And I was like, oh, okay. So then her friend actually, like, hung out, and we were having this conversation, and her friend was a part of the conversation.
Oh, yeah?
And then we kept, like, going, like, are you sure your friend's okay? Do you want to check on her? And she's like, oh, no, she's fine. And then she came back, and she's like, Josh Lawyer. And I was like, what's up? Did I offend you? Like, I didn't mean to I didn't mean to be mean, or I didn't mean anything. I just was in the middle of a conversation, and she was like, you were in that conversation for 45 minutes. And the other guy, he was like, we were talking for like 5 minutes. And she was like, oh, very cute with your cute oil paintings. Whoa. And I was like, oh, sorry. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't mean to be mean. Like, that wasn't my intention. I just was in the middle of a conversation, and she like said something else and then ran off and then flicked me off. And then I was like, cool. So that happened. And then someone was like, oh, she was super shit-faced drunk. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And then the only reason it was like even worse was because the next day, I'm assuming she was sober at that point. She messaged me that I was a pretentious cunt, and I was like, okay, well, the drunk doesn't apply anymore.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Cross her off the list of people you need to know or hang out with.
I need to know her.
Yeah.
She is my muse.
Yeah. She's my cunt muse.
She gets me. But yeah, that happened. And then we got more drunk at Lunar Yen after that show. Nice, yeah. Which the show at Wonderland is always like super fun. And we always get too drunk. And we crashed at Monty's house, so me and MJ, we were able to crunk it up.
Nice.
You know, best recognized. And and yeah, so we got pretty drunk.
And then the day after is when you recorded with Felicia, right?
No.
Oh, was it?
No, the day after is when we recorded with Steve Kim.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Never mind. Yeah.
I was fucking exhausted. I was brutal. I was exhausted already, like leading up to the show. You know, I was just tired, just working a lot. Just in like art, and you know, just don't get much sleep during those kind of the build up to a show, at least for me. Yeah. And this one was a little bit worse because we had that party. Yeah. So I was even more behind than I should have been. And then so then after the show we got too drunk, drove home, and then it was like, oh, it's like our house was a mess because we had that party the week before. Or whatever.
And he started.
And then we were just painting. So we cleaned, but like we just neglected our house after we cleaned.
Okay. Yeah.
So, so then it was like back to being pretty sloppy. And, so then I had to clean up, and Steve Kim crashed at our house. So I was like, I got to make sure like he's set up to like sleep and you know, all that good stuff.
Shove the hoarder newspapers out of the way.
Yeah. And the Steve Kim podcast is actually kind of short. I don't know if you noticed at all.
Well, you warned me beforehand.
Yeah. And it's just because like by the end I was like, I need food and sleep right now. I haven't eaten today, and and it's like 9 o'clock at night, and I need to sleep. So I was like, I think we're almost done here. And like I look over, and like Leon gave me this look, like already. And I think you know, and I don't know. I should have been like, can you guys keep talking? I'm just gonna go in the room and nap real quick.
Well, didn't Steve Kim drive from like super far away just to get there?
Yeah, he was running on less sleep than me.
Yeah. So he probably wasn't. He was probably thankful to get some shut eye at that point too.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah. And then following week we got drunk at Sandrine's with Felicia and did that podcast.
Yeah, which is super fun podcast for me at least.
Yeah.
I was like, that whole be regular thing, I was like, does anybody not realize that be regular is like you have regular bowel movements? Like it's such a silly thing to keep saying.
I didn't think of that until after you said or posted something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
About it, and I was
just thinking that the whole time. It just made it more fun for me.
Hilarious.
But it was actually also pretty hilarious to me how silent MJ was for most of the episode.
I know how silent MJ was and how furious I got throughout the more and more. It's like Felicia back on the
yeah. It was either you or her that told me like you cut out like big parts of her, like you guys just like you're just struggling.
It was me. It was like I would just cut out like I think I cut out like me saying Felicia back on the mic like 10 times.
Yeah.
Going Felicia back on the mic. Felicia back on the mic. I'm just like I'll just cut that one out. I don't want the listeners to have to listen to this like 10 more times. But yeah, it was hilarious. She was literally dodging the mic like I don't know how to explain like purposefully like this.
Yeah.
Like she would like put her head to the like away from the mic while telling a story, and it wasn't
like the mic is in her way.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was. She was like trying to like talk to us, but the mic was like someone putting a hand in front of her face.
But the funniest, most ironic thing about that episode was that she, at the few weeks before that, was talking to us and giving us shit for like not being serious enough in the podcast. Like
I know,
needing to be more like deep and I guess heavy hitting with our questions to the guests. And it's just like, all right, come on the podcast.
She was like, dive deep. You gotta dive deep. She's like, I loved the Joshua Mays episode. I loved that. Like, you need to be more like that. And I'm like, I naturally am not like that.
Right.
Like Joshua Mays, that's what he loves to talk about. So we're going to go that direction.
Right.
But like for me, I want to be silly and dumb as fuck. Like, that's my direction I head towards when it comes to conversation.
Right.
So if someone else wants to also do that, I'm not going to fight that at all.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, it was funny that was her critique. And we mentioned it before. Yeah. It's like, yeah. The fact that was like the one critique, I'm like, no, I want it.
Yeah, I gave her a little shit for that too last weekend.
The entire time leading up to that podcast too, after she said that, I was like, this shit's going to be so serious. Like, we're going to be so serious the entire time.
She had little flashes of seriousness, but other than that, it was just like, fuck your couch.
Yeah, there's like this funny part in the podcast where she tries to talk about Stewart. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, there's like 10 seconds I edited out of that where she's just like, where you don't like, I didn't realize, like, because I said like, oh, I don't want to like I don't want to tell you what painting I'm talking about.
Okay.
And that's where she made the Stewart connection, because I was saying like, there's one painting I'm not that happy with. And she's like, which one? And I was like, I don't want to say. And then she's like her brain was turning as like, I don't want to, but like she didn't explain anything yet. So she's just like, it's just like, and she's just like sitting there thinking. And then she's like, SNL. And then we're like, and she's like, it's like, and then she like goes and like explains it. And when I listened back to it, I was like, wow.
You did a good job of making that not seem like
I was like, I got to edit a big ass chunk out of that so that people understand what she's talking about.
Right. Yeah. And then the other part that that drove me nuts, that had nothing to do with you guys really, other than just because what you guys were talking about. The name that you guys couldn't come up with was Jenny Seville, but I couldn't think of it. I think I just got infected by everybody else not being able to come up with the name. But I literally, like the first time I listened to it, probably blanked out on like 5 minutes of the show. I just let it keep playing. But in the whole time in my head, I was like, what's her name? I know it's not Sylvia, but it's like, it's something. And then finally, like I almost said it out loud in the airport while I was like, Jenny Seville, that's what it is, Jenny Seville, in my head. So I was like,
I think we mentioned that in the podcast too. Like someone's fucking, they're going to be furious about that.
That was me. And I think there was somebody else who commented on our thing too.
Yeah.
Somebody said like, in my head, I was like, Jenny.
Yeah. Sorry people. That's what happens when you don't have a Sergio there.
But that would have drove me nuts too, because I wouldn't have been able to like come up with her name too, I bet, in if I was on the show either. It would have drove me nuts. And then just like 5 minutes later, I just broke in with Jenny Seville.
That was funny too, because she Felicia mentioned like her hatred for Sylvia G. I was like,
the appropriator.
No,
that's what she said.
I mean, I know, but I don't know if I agree.
I don't. Yeah, it's whatever.
It's whatever. People have been painting other.
It's like Day of the Dead has been reappropriated so often. It's like whatever.
And if you, it's like one of those things where it's like you shouldn't limit anyone's like ability to create artwork. Like if they're inspired by a culture, like why not let them, find the beauty in that culture? Like that's kind of a good thing, like people. So white people should only paint white people, and colored people should only paint brown people. Should only paint brown people. It's like, I don't know. To me, you setting a rule of like who you can talk about or write about or all that shit is like stupid to me. It's like I don't know. It's weird. I don't really agree with any of that shit, really.
Yeah, I agree. But also at the same time, I do kind of look a little bit side-eyed at people who like totally like not of a culture, like completely like base their whole life around a different culture in a way.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I do get like, there's an artist I saw who did like a whole Native American thing, and then they like were like, oh yeah, I found out my grandma, or like I'm like 2% Native American, and you're like, all right, like I don't know, but yeah, I do kind of see both sides on that. But
I'm like, go ahead and do it. I have no problem. Like I won't get your show or anything like that.
Yeah,
but it's just like, I don't really have to care. I mean, not care, but like I don't have to. That doesn't have to be my favorite thing. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It all comes down to like intent for me. Like, like if you say like I found this like, beautiful like story of this Native American tribe, and I really wanted to tell their story through this artwork, like that to me I appreciate way more than if you're like, well, my grandma's like 2% Native American, and you're like, well, I mean, now you're just trying to justify your like shittiness, you know, like now you're just trying to use these like iconic images and being like, well, technically, like I'm 2% Native American, which is like nothing. It's like, like
everybody.
like you just, exactly. Like everyone, like MJ's like 12% Native American, and she doesn't like, and pretty much every Latin culture is Native American in them.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's like, I don't know. It just comes down to like intent for me. Like what's your reasoning behind creating this artwork about this other culture? Like if it's to, explain something or tell the story within that version, then that's fine. But if it's, if your only like way of justifying what you did is like, well, my best friend's black, like
right.
That's kind of like the feel I get with like, well, 2%. It's like,
right.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the fuck we're talking about now. People's heads are hurting now. They're like, oh, God damn it. You guys should have kept it silly.
Well, that's been 2 hours of us just catching up. So
yeah.
we should probably just call it call it an episode.
Yeah. So this has been Waiting to Dry. If you're still listening,
you are such a weirdo.
Yeah, fuck off. Hey guys, we're back. It's me and Sergio.
Hey.
We just wanted to say thank you guys for listening, and we would really appreciate if you write and rate and God damn it.
Yeah, if you go on iTunes and you could rate and review us. You don't have to write anything like a huge novel or anything. You just have to go on there, give us a hopefully 5-star rating, and I think iTunes requires you to write something. So
yeah, just say "bitch, be regular." We'll be fine with that, or whatever.
Write something. Yeah, write your favorite quote from the show or something. That'd be cool.
Or write a novel. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the time to do that,
yeah. Dearest, chapter 1.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you?
But yeah, thanks again for listening, guys. And if you're still listening, please write and review and fuck off.
Yeah.
Bye.